Alright, what's going on everyone? Anthony here with AC Toys and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we are reviewing the third figure in this wave, Wave 10. The first one I reviewed was the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dino Charge Green Ranger that shipped out from Target, I think like a month ago or so now. It's been a while since that one shipped out. And then obviously recently I just posted the In Space Pink Ranger. And now today I will be doing the Power Rangers Lightning Collection In Space Phantom Ranger. We'll get more to that in a little bit, but obviously you have your standard Power Rangers Lightning Collection box art going on here, the window display with the figure and all the accessories in it, Power Rangers Lightning Collection In Space Phantom Ranger, more of that artwork wrapping around the side, Power Rangers In Space logo up here at the top. You have a 3D rendering of the product on the back. Let's see here, more of the artwork on the side. You have kind of like a charcoal color, not quite gray, not quite black going on at the top. Then you have the legalese at the bottom. Here is the barcode for anybody that needs that to scan at their local Target or wherever. So yeah, enough of that. Let's go ahead and crack this guy open and see how cool he actually is. And here we have the Phantom Ranger out of packaging in all his mysterious glory. But before we get too far into him, let's take a quick look at his accessories because he actually doesn't come with that many. So first off, he comes with his two hands on him out of packaging. He has one gun trigger hand over here and that one closed-fisted hand right there. And then he comes with a set of or not a set, but he comes with another set of hands. One is closed-fisted for this hand and another gun trigger hand for this side. So you can swap sides if you want him to be left-handed or right-handed. And then to hold the weapon, he comes with the Turbo Navigator, which when they teased this, people just assumed that they were going to start Turbo, but for whatever reason, they labeled him as an In-Space Ranger, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. And for this Turbo Navigator, he also comes with this lightning effect piece right here that you just kind of poured in, and then you have like a little blasting effect. So that's not too bad. That looks pretty cool. The Turbo Navigator itself is painted in very nicely, a nice little silvery metallic gold and silver black, so it looks really good. No holster for it here, so if you don't want him holding it, you do have to set this to the side. And this lightning effect piece also doubles as a little chest blast. So if you wanted it to like him showing him blasting it out of his ruby, that is, I guess, a pretty cool effect. I like the idea. I hate how they executed though, because like his ruby looks. It should just be a ruby. He doesn't need this blast effect coming out of his chest. Like, I guarantee you a lot of collectors aren't going to use this to display him blasting that ruby. They're just going to be really upset that the ruby is missing. And because we don't know who he is technically, I mean, we do, but if you don't, I'm not going to spoil it. He does come with another lightning effect piece since he doesn't come with a civilian head sculpt. And he comes with that same one that we've seen a couple times with the putty and the cogs. So he has a nice little chest attack piece if you wanted to show him being hurt in battle or whatever. There is that. This one I do like. It's really nice. So yes. But the other accessory I guess you can count is the helmet. I know a lot of people were a little bit upset that this piece up here is all silver instead of it being like a very dark bronze color. And I can kind of see where they were going. A lot of like media to date kind of like depicts this as silver. So if they didn't look too far back, they wouldn't know that this was actually supposed to be bronze. But not too big of a deal. Honestly, I'm okay with it either way since there are no other Rangers with this style uniform. There is no uniformity to it. There is one slight defect about mine, is that this head is super loose. Like, look at that. I can like turn it around like a top. Like, that's kind of a shame. I don't know what's going on here. I think like if I pull it up, see. Oh, I guess another thing. This isn't your typical standard barbell and hinge setup that we're used to seeing on Lightning Collection figures, because normally it would be like a hinge that can kind of bend his back a little bit more, but unfortunately this is basically stationary now. It kind of moves a little side to side. I don't know what's going on, but if I kind of pull it up a little bit, just a tiny bit, because if I pull up too much, it just pops off. It does tighten it up a bit, but I shouldn't have to do that. Like, you know, it should just go on and then not be able to spin like that. Anyways, so getting on to the details of this figure, it is done very nicely. I will give it that. The shortcomings of it being a loose head joint ain't too big of a deal. The sculpting in the helmet itself is really nice. Let's see if I can get to focus on the helmet. There we go. So you have like all these little details sculpted in right here that is done really, really nicely. They could have easily just skipped that if they wanted to, but I'm glad they didn't. You have the buckles molded in right here up top, not painted any differently. You have the buckles down here that kind of wraps around his little shin guard. Oh, not shin guard, but I guess thigh guard is what we're calling it. So the painted in the buckles there, that's a really nice detail, and that's actually sculpting, so that's very nice. And then first and foremost, I believe this is the first Ranger figure that we've gotten so far, or at least one that's been released, that has both the pinless double elbows and double knees. Now, I am a big fan of the pinless figures. Yes, it does raise the price just a tad bit, but not too much. I mean, we're already getting a price hike on these figures anyways. We might as well be getting the benefits out of it. So that is an added bonus about this figure. Is that is the first pinless figure that we received in the Lightning Collection line. I believe G.I. Joe was the first to implement it on one of their figures. And then Marvel was soon after. I could have that backwards, but either way, Marvel has it, G.I. Joe has it. Star Wars doesn't really have it because like most of their figures are single jointed elbows anyways. I don't know why they're still on the single jointed elbows, but I guess Star Wars fans don't really care that they don't have double jointed elbows. So they don't really need the pinless over there. Overall, it's a very screen accurate suit, short of like the bronze being missing on the helmet. Is very streamlined. The only downside about mine, like I said, is the loose helmet if you push it all the way down. The pads have a nice contrast of gloss black compared to the matte black of the rest of the suit, and it follows onto the hands right here with the little back of the hand guard is gloss black, and then the inside is a matte black. This piece right here is still kind of annoying. You just see a big gaping hole instead of the ruby that should be there. This little vest piece is a separate piece that they just kind of slid over. I don't know if there's any textures underneath. It just looks like a plain body. So if you take that off, he's probably just going to have no details at all. This like little, I don't know, I guess sculpting details on him that kind of makes it look like a leather suit is done very nicely too. Yeah, they got the buckles down here painted. Everything about this figure is just great. So I'm not going to fault it on mine. Obviously, it's just a defect. I hope. I don't think anybody else has this problem. If anybody else has this problem, let me know, because this is actually super annoying. Like, look at that. Anyways. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into articulation. So as far as articulation goes, as you can see, it does do a full 360. Does rock side to side a little bit. I don't know if that's just because mine is loose. Won't really look up because of that new ball hinge. Looks down an okay amount. Let's see. Yes, he does have an upper diaphragm swivel, just like all the others. Will rotate full 360 if need be. Lower ab crunch. We'll look down about that far. Back about that far, really good. And then if you bend the abs or the upper torso, it goes really far. He does have ball jointed shoulders. It'll go out about that far. We'll do not full 360. It'll kind of like go around the shoulder pad, so it's not too hindering. But if you wanted his arm straight up, you cannot do that. You have butterfly joints, so they'll go forward about that far, back about that far. You have the upper bicep swivel. We'll do a full 360. Double jointed pinless elbows. Look how clean that looks. Very, very nice. On the fist, you do have wrist rotation. Hinges in about that far, out about that far. And then for the gun hand, full 360 as well. And then it'll go up and down like so, instead of in and out. So yes. And then for the hips, you have ball jointed hips. Won't really do the full splits, but still better than most Rangers. Upper thigh swivel, we'll do a full 360 if need be. Double jointed pinless knees. Very, very nice. Boot cuff swivel, ankle rockers. Left, right, forward, backwards, side to side. Peg holes at the bottom. So yeah, there you go. Now, to get into why this might be an in-space ranger is, it goes back to my previous video where I was talking about it, and it just kind of goes to like prove the theory that where people are saying that Disney still owns the right, or Fox Disney still owns the rights to the Power Rangers movie and the Turbo series as a whole, because there is absolutely no reason this guy should have been listed as an in-space ranger. Yes, he appeared in space, I know that, but he's not originally from that series. He's originally from the Turbo series. And I know people are saying, oh, they're not going to do it because Turbo is just not a popular season. Come on, guys. Whether the season was popular or not, that's not going to stop people from getting their favorite figures. And I know Phantom Ranger is one of those top most wanted figures that a lot of people wanted. So whether it was listed as in space, Turbo, Boom Comics, what have you, people would have bought it. I can guarantee you nobody was not gonna buy this just because it was listed as Turbo. So it only kind of further proves the fact that they just don't have the rights as of yet to do Turbo. If a lot of you guys are unaware, the Turbo movie is owned by Fox, and because technically it wasn't in its own self-contained universe, it was basically just a long introduction episode that carries throughout the entire series. So Fox/Disney still owns the rights to that. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because like, why would TJ not come back as a Red Ranger? Why would you not want the first black leader of the Power Rangers to come back as a Red Ranger? Why would you keep wanting him to come back as a blue secondary character? So it just doesn't make sense to me. And now when you put it together that they don't own the rights to Turbo and they only allowed so much footage to deal with it, that they have to work with what they got. So yeah, that's just my little rant. It just kind of proves the theory. It's not my theory, it's just one I read online. And it makes sense if you put it together, because there's absolutely no reason they should have just labeled this as an in-space ranger. They should have just called it Turbo and just started that series. But anyways, I digress. My little rant. Let's go ahead and jump into some size comparisons. Okay, as far as some size comparisons, I'm not going to compare them to too many, obviously, because there are no Turbo Rangers to compare him to, and then like you've already seen all the in-space Rangers, so you just kind of need to see these two. So here we have him next to the Target exclusive Andros in Disguise Black Red Ranger, and then you have him next to Cassie, because like, why not? It's obviously Cassie, right? And Phantom Ranger. They kind of hinted at that they might have a thing. Who knows? But here you go, next to a male body mold and a female body mold. You really don't need to see any more. Once the Turbo Rangers come out, or if they ever come out, I'll compare this to them where he should be, and then maybe the Blue Centurion if we ever get that figure. So yes, let's go ahead and jump into the overviews of this figure. So final thoughts on this figure. Is he a smash? Is he a pass? Definitely get him if you can. Honestly, this wave is already hard enough to find as it is, with shipping retails being how messed up they are. So definitely get him. And obviously, for the pinless feature alone and how well sculpted this mold is, I think it's really good. Only downfall I see, well, mine, is the head being super loose. Let me know if you guys have a head super loose, and then the ruby not being filled in. But other than that, I can't dock it too much. So until next time, guys, remember, like, comment, subscribe. It doesn't cost you guys a thing, and it really helps this channel out. And until next time, later.